Hello, everyone. This is Ommer from Daastan. I hope you had a great week and you are looking forward to an amazing weekend. This last weekend, we had Lit Tech Layyah happened in South Punjab. Without a doubt, that was like one of the biggest event in the history of the South Punjab, and we had an amazing audience. Roughly 200 plus people came in. There were 25 artists that performed in local languages, and that was one hell of a memorable night. So today we are almost at the end of our Let Talk series. This is the 10th talk, and the topic is global opportunities for youth with Pagma. So, who is Pagma? Let me just quickly introduce her and then we will have her on the screen. So, Pagma holds a strong background in innovation, community building, and youth empowerment. She has been deeply involved in driving transformational change and accelerating SDG implementation through professional and voluntary mediums such as Unleash Hacks, UNDP, Save the Children, Rotary International, Youth Opportunities, and Global Economics Research Institute. Out of work, Pagma is an adventurous soul for new explorations and new experiences in her free time. So, without further ado, let's welcome Pagma. Hello, Pagma. How are you?
Hello, how are you? And
I'm
good
amazing.
morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. So wherever and whenever you are watching or listening to this.
So we are really excited to have you here with our in our show. So, Pagma, tell us a little bit about your story. Like, who is Pagma, and how did you reach where you are today? I had been like stalking you on LinkedIn. You have like an amazing work profile from where you started to where you are right now, and we would love to know more about you.
Mhm. So thank you, Omer, for the grand introduction and also inviting me to be a speaker for this amazing event that I heard about your last Saturday event. It sounds really amazing, and big congratulations to everyone.
Thank you. Pagma, we have lost you, I guess. Okay, so I think there is an internet connectivity issue. She'll be back online. So Litek Laya was basically an event to promote the culture of Laya, the main artist, and what we did. Oh, so we are back.
Hello,
Hello. Yeah,
are
yeah,
we back? So
yeah, we are back.
I okay. I think you lost. I think I lost you, and you lost me in the
Yeah,
beginning or
no.
something. Okay, so my name is Pagmasuren Ganbold. I'm from Mongolia, and as you can see, the Mongolian names are really long. So in short, people call me Pagma, and I'm a passionate youth and innovation advocate who's currently working as a program lead for the first ever Unleash Hackathon in Mongolia. So we are actually in the middle of organization for that to be held in June. And on the sidelines, I actually do more consultancy and volunteer work on innovation, youth, and governance. So that's pretty much my short introduction for who I am today. And as for how I became who I am today, I think the volunteering experience actually played a great role in shaping me at the moment, because in high school or throughout my school life, I was actually a big nerd, and people don't believe me when I say this, but I was a big nerd and introvert. And actually, one of my mathematics was one of the classes that came naturally to me. I was like really good at it. So, if it wasn't for the volunteering experiences and volunteering works that I did locally and internationally after my graduation, then I feel that I might have chosen a different career path, more with the numbers. But thanks to those experiences, I actually was able to explore myself further and expand my like explore myself further and know what my passion is, what my interest is in, and like what really drives me, so that's why I have, rather than choosing a career with numbers, I have chosen a career with more people. So that's how I become who I am today. So it's thanks to the volunteering experiences and volunteering works that I did. So I'm also a big volunteer advocate, and I always tell people to actually do some volunteer works if they have a free time, of course. So that's my story, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So I think let's talk a little bit more about how important is volunteerism for youth, because mostly I have seen youth even in my country, when you tell them about, oh, let's go and volunteer for this cause, they're like, oh no, I'm too busy, and then they waste a lot of their golden years not doing anything
Mhm.
in their life. And how do you see, like, what is the importance of volunteering in your personal and professional life? So can you share a little bit on that, because you mentioned that that changed you, so we would love to
Yeah.
know more about your experience.
So, of course, when you think about volunteer work, it's the work that you are for free, doing for free, right? So, what is the benefit? I mean, it definitely doesn't give you money, that's for sure. So, but why would you do volunteer work for free? So, I mean, the people have their own. Many people have their own reasons for starting a volunteer work. Some people want to do networking. Some people want to contribute to their community in their own ways. And some people say that rather than just donating money, it might be better to do it through your hard work, right? To really be the one implementing the work. So there are different reasons why people choose to do volunteer works. And as for whatever your reasons may be, as long as you do volunteer works, it actually bears its fruit. It can help you to network with more people. It can help you to explore the skills and the capacity that you had that you didn't even know about when you were studying in a university, when you are doing your school, or when you are studying in a school or anything like that. So the school and university or even the workplaces are not actually enough to explore and your potential to the fullest. So where you actually explore them is outside of those places, and volunteering is one of the ways to actually explore yourself and push yourself to the limits, right? So that's why, did I lose you? Okay.
No,
So
no.
that's why if young people choose to volunteer, then of course it will help you individually in your networks, in your personal skills, but also it will help you to see the bigger picture in different areas of what people are doing, how people are actually living, what kind of needs they have, like not just the things that you are seeing on news or on social media, but really see them in person and like help you to expand your horizons in real life and even maybe choose a career that you in a sector that you are really passionate about. So it may not have come across in front of you if you were just studying and if you were just at home, you may not even be able to, you may not have even known that you are a humanitarian, you have a humanitarian soul, right? If you're just studying a career, you might be thinking about becoming an accounting or choosing those kind of things, like I might have done in the past. But when you really go out there and when you really interact with those people, other people, and see their stories and hear their stories, then it will help you to change, expand your own view and open your eyes. So I strongly encourage anyone to do volunteering in person, online, or any other means that you have available at your own hands.
That's really amazing. Because if I talk about my personal journey, I still remember I came into entrepreneurship because I volunteered a lot. And I started my journey with like small youth led platforms, NGOs. And from there,
Mm-hmm.
I learned, by working on their own social entrepreneurship projects, I realized, okay, so this is how it's done. So let's do it myself. So I think that was like one of the key turning point. Had I said no to volunteering in my life, we wouldn't be having this talk right now.
Yeah, exactly. I may not even be here today.
Yeah, true. So
Yeah.
so let's talk a little bit more about like decisions, because as we talk about the youth, so the
Hmm.
decisions that they take in their lives affect their future. So at which age, what should youth focus on? Like youth has like multiple brackets, like initial, mid one, and then late. So how would you
Hmm.
decide that at which phase what should be done? Because like I'm almost 30 right now, so I'm like almost past the youth. so how about you? What's your experience? What advice would you give?
So short age is everyone has their own time and everyone has their own age. So it doesn't mean like one age, one number is not applicable to everyone. Because as even you, I think you can even relate that we have our own individual life, right? We have our
Yeah,
individual unique contexts that we are living in and unique passions, unique identity in our own selves. So that means like one number doesn't is not applicable for everyone. So it's okay. But as for youth, I think thinking back now, I would like to advise especially younger generations to just, you know, explore yourself. Just enjoy the life. Don't stress over what's gonna happen in the later future. Because important step in like shaping our future is first of all finding ourselves first, right? What is our passion? What's really driving us? Because if we in the future we wanted to be working for something, we want to be doing the work, doing actions, taking actions towards something that we are passionate about, or towards the vision that we really believe in. And if we want to know what's that passion, then we need to explore ourselves first. And there was a study done by Stanford University. So out of all the university students, like only 20% of them know what their passion is. So if you think about it, like Stanford University is a like amazing school, Ivy League school, like not just only some, but many of the people, young people want to study and graduate from. But even people who are in that school doesn't know what their passion is, right? And it's the question that we answer to throughout our lifetime. The answers can change from time to time, depending on the information and knowledge and who we have become during that time. But it's important to know the answer in your own time. And in order to know that, you need to explore yourself and just, take risk, explore yourself, try doing new things, try getting out of your comfort zone, try new experiences, meet new other people that you wouldn't even meet in your daily life, right? To see what
yeah,
their life is like, so what that's driving them, and just enjoy yourself. Don't worry about afterlife. Youth is this is the age where we should be just trying to doing the things that we want to do. And if there's any advice, like when you are young, never make a decision that would restrict you and chain you into a certain context, into a certain box that you would never be able to, would have a hard time getting out of. So try to make yourself as unrestricted, unleashed as possible. So yeah.
yeah. That's like I think one of the good advice that I have ever heard, because most of the time I have seen that youth get themselves into such programs or jobs or maybe daily life. Maybe sometimes they settle down, sometimes they have their family issues which restrict them severely. Like they don't even have time, they can't even take risk at all. So when anyone is young, they need to like focus on this thing, that they should have that much bandwidth to take risks, because the more you experience, the more you explore, it helps you understand that what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
If I talk about like myself, or in particular Pakistan, uh, our environment is something like where we have like the 10th grade, and then when you go into the college, you are just focusing on like study, nothing else. Like the parents, they don't even want to send their or engage their kids in like extracurricular STEM education, boot camps, conferences, nothing. Like the only focus is just rote learning, just learn this thing, just take marks and nothing else. And then once you go into the university, the same kind of like hassle is there, the same race, everything. So very few people out of the whole class actually go into this thing. Like I still remember, I had a class of like when I was in my university, our batch was almost 52 to 55 people. And
Mm-hmm.
of the entire department, I was the only one who was like hustling here and there, going to programs, attending the boot camps, attending conferences, and people would be like, why are you so stressing right now? And when I look back today, like now I realize that everything I did was like totally worth it. I was seeing that from that point. I think the exposure was like really good. When I was in metric, I had I attended my first ever live youth conference in my hometown, and that
Mm-hmm.
transformed me. And I have seen that most of the youth do not focus on attending these. Like you mentioned, you would be organizing Unleash. You have also like been a part of various such events. So how have you seen the youth participation in it? What kind of youth participate in the events that you organized, and how have you seen their behavior or mindset change over time? What would you say about that?
So probably specifically, I would like to take the examples from the project that I was working on in UNDP Mongolia. It's called Activity 2030 Youth Project. So within that project, we develop a program, especially on enterprising skills. So when we think about enterprising, it's not only related to the entrepreneurship. So it's whether you want to become an entrepreneur or whether you want to work in a corporate, like successful employee in the corporate, or when you just want to be an active citizen, you will need the enterprising skill, which is to be able to turn your ideas into action. So, and make a commitment and determination to see that through, right? So those are the skills that you would really need. So this enterprising development program for the youth in Mongolia, we have, compared to the, of course, like big conferences where they have like 200 people, 300 people, it's more of a close, like a small number of participants where we focus on each of their and enterprising tendencies, like their creative thinking, their drive and determination, their ability to think independently, or their, let's just say it, like if they're able to take risk while doing their calculations, like calculated risk taking, those kind of tendencies, right? So during that program, it's usually it can, like, duration can vary from 3 days to 2 months, right? Depending on the context. So when the young person firstly goes into this program, of course, when you're in the youth and when you are uncomfortable in that, with the 20 or 30 new stranger youth who are in that same room, right? Some are even older than you, because in Mongolia, the youth are aged between 15 to 34. So you can be in a room with the 18-year-old
Well,
youth, and then you can be in a room with the 30-year-old youth. So it's all in the same room and all from different backgrounds. And when you're in that kind of room, of course, like there are people with strong temperaments, right? Where they are outspoke each other, where they have the confidence to speak and voice their opinion loudly. But whereas there are also people like introverts who are shy to speak in front of people, and who are like, wouldn't have this kind of like illusionary belief that even if they were to speak, that people wouldn't hear them, like really listen to them, right? So through this program, what we try to do is like help them to learn the concept that for the people who are really outspoken, it's important to respect others and like listen to their opinion. Whereas people who are shy tends to have to build their confidence in speak in front of other people, speak their opinion. So this, even with just 3 days, you see these changes throughout the program. See in this environment that you really feel these changes just showcasing right in front of you, and there you are organizing it, and you feel so proud to see those changes in those youth. And then, of course, at the end of the program, those youth are not going to get like employed or get a work or something, but these changes that have, those behavior changes that they gain during these programs will last them throughout their life for the long period. So when it's like building your own tendencies and in different categories, and helping them to voice their opinion, take action in their own actions. But also it's not just like individually, it's also like teamwork, shifting from I to we, that like orientation and everything. So it's actually quite amazing program. It's actually amazing programs, which I'm really proud to have been a part of. So I think
That's
like
really
similar to this, like you never know what kind of program or what kind of facilitation is waiting for you, preparation is waiting for you at certain workshops or like at certain events, right? But different events and different facilitation can bring up different results. But if you really go into this kind of like behavior change programs that are aiming to change the behavior of the participants positively at the end of the programs, then it's really fruitful. It's fun.
wow. That's really amazing. So, another like just a question. For example, I have personally seen that when you meet with people who are from maybe different ethnicity or maybe different country, and then when you work together with them, the whole mindset kind of like changes. There's a lot of personality change in you. So I would like to know, like, what was your first ever experience of meeting someone outside your country or maybe going outside your country, and how that brought a change in your personality?
Hmm, actually, let me think. Because I have interacted with like many. I think the one probably would be actually the one from the Youth Collab Summit in Hanoi that we attended together.
Yes,
And there was a,
yes, yes.
I don't remember the name. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that, but I don't remember the name, but who had the uh, speaking problem, who had the,
Okay.
who was mute. So let's just say it's not a good word. And when I was interacting with him, it was actually so it's a kind of like a fate. I don't know how it's going to be. I was sitting right next to him in a bus, and then we were talking through his like interpreter, and then like I was getting him to teach me some sign languages like this and etc. and like have to say my name with my sign languages and like etc. etc. And then during the last day of the not the last, the third day of the summit, we had also this like group discussion where we were going into different we're going into different groups that had this different like aim or different objects that we would want to discuss in discussion topics. And one of the groups that I went into, there was actually a representative of a mute community in Vietnam there with also his interpreter. And
Wow.
and I actually used my learning from the bus. Like, so this is how you say it, right? This is how you like do the sign languages, and this is how the conversation actually started throughout the group. And then everyone like started talking about how do you say that, what's the situation in your own country, and etc. etc. So it's like these small things that you learned, and you really kind of like, I was thinking like this initiative to like interact with different people, right? Learn from them is always bears its fruit in the end. It's like, it's amazing. Like, even though we not speak the same language, I may not know the same sign language, even just trying to learn that this actually helps a lot. Just trying to connect
Yeah.
with them is actually quite helpful. That's what I was like thinking back then. So it's actually quite interesting.
So I remember one sign from there. I think this is the applaud sign. So for the
Yeah,
clapping,
yeah, yeah,
that was like one thing I found it really really cool, and I have never forgotten that, because I think we were in APY Thailand, I guess. So there was this whole closing round going on, and then they had some representatives there. So the moderator went on stage, and she made us all do that. She was like,
yeah.
"Oh, you will remember this for the rest of your life," and yes, I do. Because that's the only thing I know. And that sounds really interesting, because like now like whenever you go and meet anyone from that community, at least you know something, and that's kind of like starts as a what you may say icebreaker, and that's how
Yeah.
you can like get the conversation started. Because I have came across like many youths whenever I go and travel in different events, and this is one question that came in most of the time, that how do you start a conversation? So what would you say about it? And then I'll share my point of view how I did it.
How do I start the conversation? I don't know. Just
Like for
smile.
extroverts it's easy,
Well,
like, but for
welcomingly
introverts it's hard.
smile. Just welcomingly smile and say hello and just introduce yourself and try to find the common ground. I think, for example, that sign language was the common ground that I used, right? But for you, I would be thinking of like start talking about like Youth Collab Summit and how amazing it was and like how Saturday and etc. So it's like trying to find that something, some common ground is actually quite important. But first of all, try to make it as welcoming as possible. I think I think for me, it's like welcoming smile, probably.
So would you like to share any experience regarding where you started a conversation with someone, which was really hard?
Which was really hard. Hmm. I think so. I told you like I was a big nerd, right? And big
Yeah.
nerd and introvert in high school and also in my school year. So when I went into the university, I actually studied in Turkey for my bachelor degree. And interestingly, my best friends from my high school, we all got the same scholarship and we were all studying in the same city.
Okay.
So if you think about it, it's actually quite a blessing because I have people I know there. I have my best
Yeah.
friends there, right? But at the same time, it means I don't actually feel the need to interact and communicate with people. I don't actually need to worry about it because I already
Yes.
have the people that I know. So, and some points I kind of started questioning that situation and started going to events alone by myself, just ditching my friends. And in an event, if you go there, there's already like group of people who already know each other, right? Especially in
Yeah.
Mongolian community in Turkey, it's like it's already small fractions where people know each other, and going there and starting a conversation that's like really kind of nervous cracking a lot. It actually makes you really nervous because you're taking something to eat and you go on a desk and then you start making a conversation. So hi, hello, with the people they already know. So it's like that's kind of the hardest time that I have, that's the hardest things that I had when it comes to meeting people. But once you get used to it, meeting the people that you don't know, strangers alone, you are alone by yourself, but you're pushing yourself to meet others. And once you push yourself enough, then you get kind of used to the feeling. And you kind of learn the ropes along the way, kind of thing. But the
Yeah.
first times are gonna be really difficult. It's gonna be super embarrassing sometimes. Like you might think, like, why did I say that? But I should have said that or things like that. But it's okay. It gets better as the practice goes. Practice makes better. So,
That's
and
like
for
really
you,
good. For me, I think there were like two very what I would say awkward instances. So there was this one event. It was back in my university time. So I was volunteering for a youth platform, and we have had our delegates in that event. So I knew them by name. I have never seen them. So I went there in the auditorium, and then there's this guy sitting right next to me, and he's just trying to, like, strike a conversation, and I kind of scolded him. I was like, bro, why are you sitting there? This seat needs to be open. One of my team members is coming in. Okay, so first he looked at me, and then he laughed, and then he said, what's the name of that team member? I said, this is the name. So he said, that's me. I was like, oh.
oh my god,
That was like one hilarious thing. And another thing I would mention is, since I was fortunate enough to like go into like 2 3 different programs in different countries and represent my homeland. So one thing I have seen, that like when you go, you have people from your like same country, like the whole delegate comes in, like there are 4 5 people from your country, and then you go into certain program. So one thing which I have often seen, which my country fellows did, was that during the entire 1 week, 3 day, 2 day, 1 day event, they just keep talking to each other. They do not
ah,
socially interact with anyone at all. And
mhm.
I kept guiding them, like, you can go back in your country and then you can talk for the rest of your life. But the people here that are present right now, they won't be here ever again, all at one place. So just try to make the most out of it, whatever you can. Like, personally speaking, all the people that I have met in Vietnam, I was able to get in touch with them again. And then again, when I went into like Thailand program, many of the people got connected with me because we were in Vietnam, but then their parent country was maybe Thailand. So when I went there, they were there again, and then that was again one refreshing experience for me. Similarly, a lot of people, team from Youth Collab is from China, so when we went there again, that was their hometown. That was like again one of an interesting experience. So we are in your country, so what are the cool things here? So again, it helps me like break the ice and like push the conversation forward and build a good relation with them. And it has helped me a lot. Like for example, in this particular program that we are doing with the British Council funding. So this Lit Talk series, like almost out of the 10, I think 7 talks are from the Youth Collab people. All the people that I met in different countries, and then someone recommended someone, and that's how I was able to get in touch with them. So I think that's the value which professional networking brings in, and this is something which most of the youth do not realize. They just, I don't know how to convey this, that they need to get out of their comfort zone and like do something, do good networking. So I think that was like my experience. So moving on, let's talk a little bit more about the opportunities. Like I have heard and I've seen that you were a part of youth opportunities as well, and other than that, you have been a part of like various programs. So what would you advise, that what kind of opportunities are available for youth globally? Because when you go
Mm.
online, there are certain opportunities that are restricted for country, restricted for a
Yeah.
certain niche. But like, how would you say that, like, I still personally believe there are a lot of opportunities out there which are available for everyone. Anyone can apply for them. Like, what
Mhm.
would you say about that? And how was your experience? And what would you advise?
Yeah, I mean, totally agree. There's like millions of opportunities online if you just search for it. So we are living in an age of information and digital and technology, right? Meaning that
Yes.
this age brings the benefits of this age is actually there are many, like millions of amazing opportunities online and also offline. And if you want to, we can get an information. If you, how many, most important thing is to be able to have the information on that opportunity and then like grasp that opportunity. But in order to have the information, you need to search for it, perhaps. Maybe you might see it on your school board or in your university boards or across the streets on a banner or posters, or maybe when you are scrolling the Facebook, you might see there's an opportunity like that. But if you Google for any kind of opportunities, like youth opportunities, there's like millions of it. And you will be really surprised to see like how many opportunities are actually available for everyone and also free of charge. Like you don't have
Yes.
to pay for anything. So as was written in the poster, and as you said, one of my job is being an ambassador for the Youth Opportunities. And Youth Opportunities is the largest worldwide opportunity discovery platform. So that's exactly the term that they use. So it has a delegation in like around 120 countries, and Pakistan is one of them. And Youth Opportunities provides an easy and instant and free access to the information on opportunities that are globally and internationally and sometimes like regionally and specific country wise, as you say, available for the youth, right? It could be on maybe international conference, but with the COVID now, most of the international conferences are being held online. So it could be
Yeah.
online international conference, it could be offline in person, and it could be workshops, leadership workshop, or certain capacity building workshop, or it could be design workshops, and it could be competitions, and essay competitions, or poet competitions, or photography competitions, or it could be fellowships where you can do and study research in certain university or organizations for half a year, 1 year, or it could be internship available at one of the prestigious, I guess, international organizations like UN, World Bank, or the ADB, or things like that. So if you just try searching youth opportunities, then there's a website, there's a social media accounts, of course, there's a mobile application, and there should be a Facebook group called Youth Opportunities Pakistan, which also would have a local opportunities advertising, posting there regularly, and just search for it. And it's not just only platform available. There are many other platforms available on the opportunity postings, informations. Like I think there's even one like opportunity desk and etc. scholarship
Yeah.
365 and etc. So search for it and subscribe, like them, follow them, check them regularly, and you will always get like at least maybe daily, but like at least 2 days, one post in a day, you will see information about it. So, and check
That's
them. And of course, if it's a youth, then it is gonna check age. If it's a global, then it's gonna check your language. So it's important to have the language that they are asking for, and the basic requirements are gonna be different depending on the opportunity. So check the requirements. If you meet them, then apply for it. Yeah.
okay. So there's this like a little bit confusion most of the people have is like, what's the difference between a fellowship and an internship? And
Mm.
how would you like describe it? Because like both of them have ship in the end, but like what's the difference?
Yeah. Of course, like even the scholarship has the ship in them, you
Yeah,
know.
lot of ships.
Yeah. So I think I mean, they have certain similarities for sure, but fellowship is something that allows you to focus more professionally, deepen your knowledge and professional skills. Whereas internship is more just for you to gain an experience in that work or in that organization. Because internship is something that you apply maybe when you're a fresh graduate or when you're in the last year of your school, but whereas fellowship doesn't have to require that kind of, freshness or last year of school criteria. So it's more when you want to deepen your professional understanding skills and something like that. But sometimes it can be similar. The opportunities may seem like similar to each other, but the main difference is one is more on the professional development, the other one is more gaining an understanding and experience at a certain position. So yeah.
So when we talk about like a fellowship, so uh, can you like name some fellowship or kind of explain what happens in a fellowship? For example, let's say I applied for a certain fellowship. So what can I expect out of it? So are there like online programs, workshops, or like how does it happen in fellowships? Because for an internship, people have this mindset that you will go to a company, you will go there, work there in the field. So that sounds something. But like for a fellowship, they're totally blank that what happens in there. So, what would you like say about it on the format of the fellowship?
I mean, the fellowship is also different depending on the organization. But one of the things, at least for me, what the fellowship, from my understanding, the majority of them is going and doing a specific work on a specific topic. It could be research, Let's say you have already a background in economics. Then let's say one of the universities started to announce the fellowship on the economic department. Then you will be going there to deepen your understanding and doing a research on the specific topic that you are working on. So it's like internship. Yes, you go there. Sometimes it doesn't have to be in person. Sometimes it can be online
Yeah.
also with the new changes. And you're getting probably a most junior position, right? Starting from the bottom, probably.
Yeah.
Let's say assistant, project assistant, communication assistant, and starting from the bottom and doing the most basic and day-to-day works. But whereas in fellowship, you can start from the middle or maybe from the above and
So, yeah.
doing a more, have to say, doing work that requires more knowledge and expertise in that certain area or in that certain position or in that certain research topic. So probably modality can be similar. Of course, you can be working in that university or organizations in person, or maybe it's a fellowship program where you are working together with the same people, right? With a similar topic, let's say poverty as your main topic. But for the internship, it's like different. You start from the bottom. So yeah.
And
But
there's
modality can
also,
be same and different, yeah.
yeah. Sure.
But you
And
get also
now let
salary, by the way.
that was the point where I was coming on. So there's also another jargon that usually floats on the social media, and that's called like workshops. So how is the workshop and training sessions the same? And then we also have this conferences that come in like where people can apply. So like who should apply for workshops, who should apply for conferences? Like, what's your take on that? Because when a youth comes and they see these 5 6 categories, they have no idea what to do. So like, what would you tell a little bit on that?
So yeah, of course. So there's a difference. For example, conference. Let's say that's a conference is if you are applying to a conference event, then be prepared to be listening most majority of the time. There will be people, experts in their own field, or famous people who will be speaking about a certain topic, and it will be more like one way directional. Like, it's more the speakers towards an audience, and the interactions from like audience to the speaker will be quite less. It will be minimum. So that's what you can expect from a conference. It's given the number of the participants is usually hundreds of people, so it will be difficult to engage everyone in the audience to be more interactive or things like that. So it will be more on the listening side, where you will be listening from the people, the experts in their fields on certain topics. And whereas in workshops, you are the lead character. You can think of it like that. Let's say it's a leadership workshop, then the people, the moderator or the facilitator will be aiming to make you interact more, the audience more interactive, and participants to interact more. So it's like interactive level in the workshop is like quite high, whereas in the conference it's more or less. So in these workshops, you should be prepared to listen. Like there will be more listening, but you prepared to participate more, actively engage more. So those are the main like basic differences you can think of it. Yeah.
So that's like a good example. And let's talk a little bit more about like the skills that what skills are needed to apply for such opportunities. For example, whenever we talk about conferences, they usually ask, okay, so do you have this visa to travel? And then some people ask, do you have like a personal statement? And these particular terms, like if I talk specifically about the entrepreneurship competitions or funding opportunities for a social idea or a venture, I have always been asked about three things. One is the pitch deck, the other one is an elevator pitch, and the third one is probably the financial projections or how you will use the funds. So these are like the three documents that are pretty much needed everywhere. So do you have some other things in mind, some prerequisites? Like, for example, if I'm applying for a certain program, like a fellowship, workshop, conference, and all these various kind of opportunities, what are some of the prerequisites which one should have in hand before even thinking about applying for a global opportunity? So, what would you advise on that?
Yeah, that's like a very generic question, summed into very, including very diverse things. But minimum requirements are always there, right? Which like visa,
Yeah.
age, and local regionality, country, and which if you have met them, and if you're applying for it, as you say, those essay questions or those attaching new supporting documents, those are the things that actually really what the recruitment, let's just say recruitment office or selection office is like looking for, because there are like hundreds of applicants, hundreds of people who are trying to apply and get that same opportunity as you. So first thing you need to really do is like research the opportunity, the organization, their program, like what are their like values, what are they looking for, especially in their applicants, in their participants, what kind of people or what kind of entrepreneurial or company and startup they're looking for, right? So those are the researching that is very important. And when you have researched the ideals, when you have researched that, have enough information on it, then you need to think about what kind of experiences you have, the skills, the previous skill set or understanding or dreams or visions that you personally have that align with those needs that they have. And in your essay questions, that's when you bring it up, so that you try to bring your originality and prove that, because your uniqueness in what you are aligning with their needs is what helps you to stand out from all the other applicants. So if you were to just copy and paste it from internet, you will be successfully able to submit your application, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
will it help you to stand out from those hundreds of youth, hundreds of entrepreneurs? Then it's gonna have a really low chances. So that's why you need to have that uniqueness, that experience. Maybe if you're applying for the leadership opportunity, then what kind of leadership experience you had in the past, what you need to improve, and what you are trying to gain from that program. Or if it's just let's just say, cultural exchange program, then what will you be doing with the learnings that you did from the gains that you benefited from that program and an opportunity? How will you be using them in the future? So those kind of things are very important. You can't just say that I have never been abroad, or I just want to interact with other people and this is what I think is best to do in free time, or things like that. You need to also think about why they need to choose you, right? Why they need to select you out of all those people. So that your selling point should be real and should be original, something that's not copied from the internet.
Yeah.
And I think probably for the startups or entrepreneurs like pitch tech, but even like the services, right? What kind of
Yes.
services that your product is actually, that your company is providing? Is it aligning with that opportunity? Is it aligning with that organization's needs? Maybe it's your sectors in education, but maybe they're looking for something in health. So those are the things that you really need to understand first before you bring it forward, I think. Yeah. So research first and make it original as much as possible, and try to find your selling points and emphasize them, amplify them, and then do it in your own way.
That's like really amazing. And I think I would like to add one more thing here is uh, learning a new language is also like an important thing which most of the people overlook. I first remember when I first met Lenka, and she had this presentation on the stage, and there was this number written on the stage, and she asked us to guess what that number meant. And everyone was like, "Oh, that may be your brothers and sisters, maybe your family members." And then she said, "These are the number of languages I know." I was like, "Oh my god, you know so many languages." So I
Wow.
think that is like a thing that we mostly like overlook. Like in Pakistan, everyone knows one language, that is their mother tongue for sure. Then we have our national language, that's Urdu. Most of the people know it, and then
Mm-hmm.
English is the official language. So almost all Pakistanis know these three languages for sure. But like when you try to go out into different programs, especially when you are applying for global programs, I think having a language, another language, maybe a globally renowned language, is usually a good point, because I have seen that in applications they ask this thing that about, there's a question about diversity, or there's a question about inclusion, something like that. And when you have something different which no other person has, I think that's where you mentioned that a good point where someone can like stand out of the crowd. So how many languages you know?
My gosh.
That was my actual question.
Well, four
Wow.
for
So
now.
you know one more than me.
But yeah, I feel like you have the advantage of being born to three. For
Yeah.
us, the official language is Mongolian, and others you have to learn it.
Wow. So that's more hard work. For us,
It's
it's
more
like,
hardworking.
yeah, we know three for sure.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So what would you say about the soft skills or the technical skills? Because I have seen that there's a lot of debate which you see online and offline that, oh no, you need to have soft skills, oh no, you need to have technical skills. So what's your take on that?
You need both. Totally, you
Yeah.
need both. And then I think personally, like technical skills is what can be written on CV, right? On your
Yes.
curriculum, and you can on cover letter or application form. This is technical skills, something where you can clearly see and write on your CV and on paper. So that is something that gets you into the place. Technical skills is what gets you into the place, but soft skill is really determines if you get to stay there or if you get kicked
Yes.
out as soon as possible. So you really need them both, and you cannot like ignore any of them. You need to be able to improve both of them and make sure to keep improving it and learning it as much as possible in your throughout your lifetime. It's a lifelong learning process for both of them.
So how would you like I remember I am quite sure that a lot of people who are listening, they might not even know what a soft skill is. So how would you break it down to them, like what is a soft skill and how they can like kind of improve it?
Hmm, I think soft skill. Okay, very hard definition, but technical skill is something that you can learn by memorizing, let's say,
Yes.
by memorizing, writing through a very manual work, reading or things like that. Whereas soft skill is you have to learn intuitively, which takes more hard work in learning because it's not something that you can measure easily, but also, whereas technical skills, let's say if it's a language, we can take a English exam, like TOEFL, IBT, or IELTS, and just
Yes.
see or measure ourselves. But whereas soft skills comes from within ourselves, inside yourself, so it's quite difficult to actually improve them. And if you think about it, it comes to more communication, more people skill rather than technical expertise skill. So
Yes.
people skills comes from ourselves, within ourselves, and also from our mind, as you say it, right? And it can be creativity, it can be our people, it can be our speaking skill, or it can be our writing skills. Sometimes writing skill as in storytelling, not just like
Yes.
writing an essay or something, but storytelling and narrating in a way that reflects and engages and like really touches, reaches the audience, right? So those kind of like create skills, like even that determination, like being motivated, being inspired and inspiring and leading, and those like people skill is what inside the people skill is the soft skill. And how do you improve them? I guess we need to practice more. I mean, you can go
I-
through a certain courses, take a courses on how to improve a creative thinking, which will help you to think outside of box a little bit, but it really takes a practice. And as I told you, I was a big nerd in school and I was an introvert. And people don't believe me now when I say I'm an introvert, by the way. They
yeah,
think
you are
like you,
totally lying.
yeah,
I am with the people.
that's what people say. But like the first time when I was in high school, I don't know why, but even though I had a good grades, I never had to speak, like stand in front of my class and read my own essay. I think the first time I did that was in ninth grade. The first time
Wow.
I was reading that. So when you are reading something, you have this like rules, right? Techniques, like you have to
Yeah.
engage with your audience. You have to make an eye contact, or and try to look up and try to speak clearly and slowly and things like that. But in that case, no, it's not. It was like quite nerve wracking. I was like, my voice was shaking, my hands were shaking, my knees were shaking, and like I couldn't even look up from the paper I was holding. Like I was trying to read it as fast as possible so that I could go back to my seat. So that experience like really helped me to understand that I'm really a bad speaker, like public
Yeah.
speaker in front of people. So ever since then, I started pushing myself to speak more. Like when you are in a meeting, to ask questions, even though like in a conference, they ask for the microphone and ask a question, and my voice was still shaking, and everything was still nerve wracking. But at some point, I don't know how it got better, but at some point it got better. And
Yeah.
even now, I do get nervous, but people don't see it anymore. At least
Yeah.
it's not that obvious anymore. That's how I feel because people think I'm a confident speaker now, and I'm like, no, I'm not. So I think it really takes time. It really takes practices, as you really need to push yourself to gain and improve that skills. I mean, you can do that through certain like targeting courses, like if you take it, but it's still gonna need you yourself to push yourself to improve that certain skill.
Yeah, that's really an interesting take because I remember when you like are are bad at soft skills and you're like asked to do a speech or a presentation. So I was like kind of moderating one, and there was this one school girl. She came in, and the principal was like sitting in the front row as a chief guest. And usually in the English debate, so there's this standard sentence that honorable prince, honorable madam, and respected judges and my dear
Uh,
fellow students, I cordially welcome, blah blah blah. So that girl comes in and she's like, when she's going into the stage, I could knew that she has lost the confidence and she has lost it and she's not going to do it. So she goes on stage and she says, "Horrible, madam," instead of honorable. And madam is like, "What?" And then the English teacher ran on the stage and she's like, "No, no, no, it's not horrible, it's honorable."
Oh my god.
And that was like one hell of a thing. And that girl, like, he never was able to complete the speech. She just left it midway, and I was like, she needs so much work on that, on her skills. So yeah, I think
Well,
that happens a lot in our daily lives. But
I
people can
totally
actually like
relate to
focus.
her. I mean, I think I could have made the same mistake.
True. But I have also like kind of seen people improve it. Like when I went into Plan 9, that was like where we started our journey. And there was this one guy, like we had these team huddle kind of meetings where all the incubatees would come in the main common room, and then we would all try to pitch to each other. And there was this one guy, he had an amazing idea. They were doing something with the hardware, wearable hardware tracking something. So he was an amazing techie, but like a very bad speaker. And when he would come on stage, he would only utter roughly 2 to 3 words. Hello, my name," and he wouldn't be able to like complete the sentence. And then there was this our program coordinator, and she would like try to encourage him, just speak. We are all here, and we are all trying to say, "No, no, it's okay. Just relax and try to calm down and speak." But he was like not able to speak at all. And then at the end of the day, like when the 5 or half an hour session was over, she took that guy to his office, and then she made him like work for entire 1 2 hours. And in the lunch when we came back, that guy was like, I was like, is this the same guy who was like not able to speak a word, and he's like so cool now? So yeah, I think that's the main thing, that you need someone by your side who can like help you build your confidence. Because most of the time, I still remember like when it was my first time I went on stage, I would always think that, oh, now if I make a mistake, everyone will start laughing at me, and then it would be so embarrassing. And like, all those hundreds of thoughts are still coming inside your head. So I think that that's where you actually like need to work on yourself, that it's okay, even if you fumble, if you forget, it's okay. Like that is the main thing. Like in strive of perfection, we like lose it all.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Actually, that brings back to one of the studies on the youth, that we are afraid to fail. The youth are afraid to fail because we will be seen as failure or joke through our
Yes.
peers. That's like that fear that we will be perceived as a failure by our friends, by our classmates, is what also stops us, and also puts a barrier on front of us from doing something different, doing the things that we don't usually do, right? So being able to break through that barrier and being able to like push down your fear and do something for yourself, that really helps us to experience and become a different person, I think, and improve our skills in that sense. Yeah. But
Yeah,
never be
true.
afraid of failures. We learn from failures. As you can see, I also learned from my failures and try to change it over time. Yeah.
So, if you could like go back in your past life, what decision would you change?
Yeah. I mean, actually, I don't. I mean, I have. Of course, I made mistakes. Of course, I could have made the better choices in certain contexts, in certain situations, but I actually wouldn't change anything
Oh,
because
there's no
even
fun
if
in that.
no, because even if they may not make any sense, or they could have been different in that context, in that time, and even now they may not make any, reasons or intentions or make any sense or any benefits at the moment. But I feel like when you live your life, and when you pass through this, and when you make a decision, and when you pass through the certain dots in life, sometimes those dots connect with each other at certain
Yeah,
point in your life, and then you look back, oh, maybe that I did that because so that it could happen this way today. So maybe those decisions may seem like some of them may seem like a bad one at the moment, but in future, if you look back, it may have been the best decisions you have made. So I believe that everything I made has a meaning and will pay its benefits in the future. So I actually wouldn't change anything in that sense.
Okay.
I'm sure it will connect somehow, somewhere in the future. Yeah.
So you are like quite an optimistic thinker.
Exactly. Yeah.
Super optimistic. Things will go well. It's okay.
It's okay.
So yeah. So we are like almost at the end of our session. So the world would be a much better place to live in if youth would like. How would you complete the sentence?
The world would be a much better place
Better
to
place
live
if
in
youth.
if youth explore their life to the fullest and take action towards what they believe in.
Nice. You are really good at it.
Because that's a motto, right? Explore yourself, explore your life first.
Yeah, I think that's the key takeaway for our main session is like you need to first explore, because if you do not know what you want, then you are just running wild. So
Yeah.
the last question for like today's session is like, what's your message for youth of Pakistan? Like there are a lot of people tuned in right now. They would be streaming it later on as well. So what do you want to say to our people? There are a lot of people listening to you.
That's quite a pressure for the last question. Well, I mean, you are you. You don't have to be the same as the others. You don't have to follow the same path as the others. So just believe in yourself, follow your own paths. Don't be afraid of being left or being late or being left behind to anything. Life is not a race. You can start at any time. Your starting point could be at any moment, at any age, in any place. So be adventurous, live your life to the fullest, and don't be afraid to make big decisions, I guess. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much, Pagma, for all the amazing information and all the advice that you gave. Before we sign out, I have just one question that I wanted to ask for. Like, since the time you tuned in, do you have a library at the back? In the frame, I
Yes.
can see a lot of amazing books.
Yeah,
So,
this is my, with the COVID, I have been taking more and more online meetings, and this is the corner where I usually take my meetings with my library at the back. Yes.
I love your library. Because since the point you tuned in, I was like, okay, so what does that red book? I think I might have it. I'm trying to read the titles.
Yeah. Actually, that book is okay.
But it's amazing.
You will be surprised, but that book is a Turkish book on child
Okay.
stories, fairy tale stories, anyway. So that's why it's so colorful in the red.
Wow. So Urdu is actually like our national language. Urdu is like derived from Turkish word. So yeah, Urdu is a
Oh,
Turkish word. So I
great.
think that's why I could spot that red book.
Sure, you can read it if you want.
Okay, so thank you so much, Pagma, for all the amazing information and time. It was really an amazing session talking to you again online this time. Last
Yes.
time we spoke offline in person, but I hope COVID ends soon and we are able to travel again and meet somewhere in the future sometime. And would love to have a coffee with you. Thank you so much. Have a
Exactly.
nice day.
Thank you, Omer. Thank you for inviting me. And I also really hope to see you somewhere and sometime in the future and have a
Sure.
coffee. Yes.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you for inviting me. Bye bye.
Bye.